The Battle of Cable Street, when Londoners united to defend against fascism. Presentation overview. Rise of fascism in Europe. Fascism emerged in Europe in the early 20th century and became a major political and social force in the lead up to World War II. British Union of Fascists. The British Union of Fascists was a fascist political party in the United Kingdom that was active in the 1930s. Battle of Cable Street. The Battle of Cable Street was a historic event that took place in 1936 in London. It was a clash between anti-fascist protesters and the British Union of Fascists, and is considered a turning point in the fight against fascism in the UK. Context and background. Fascism in Europe. The 1930s saw the rise of fascist movements across Europe, with countries such as Germany, Italy, and Spain becoming increasingly authoritarian and promoting messages of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and racism. British Union of Fascists. The British Union of Fascists, led by Oswald Mosley, began to gain popularity in the UK during the 1930s, promoting a message of anti-Semitism, racism, and authoritarianism. Rise of Fascism. The Great Depression. The economic crisis of the Great Depression created widespread unemployment and poverty in Europe, creating a fertile ground for the rise of fascism. Populist and extremist movements. Populist and extremist movements gained support in Europe during the economic crisis, with parties such as the Nazi Party in Germany and the Fascist Party in Italy coming to power. Battle of Cable Street. Historical context. The Battle of Cable Street took place during a time of rising fascism and anti-Semitism in Europe and was a significant moment in the fight against far-right extremism. Resistance to fascism. The Battle of Cable Street was a successful example of community resistance to fascism and far-right extremism, with local residents, anti-fascist groups, and trade unions forming a human barricade to prevent the British Union of Fascists from marching through the streets. Causes of the battle. Rise of fascism in Europe. The rise of fascism in Europe was one of the major causes of the Battle of Cable Street. It led to the growth of fascist movements, such as the British Union of Fascists, which sought to spread their ideology and gain political power. Growth of British Union of Fascists. The growth of British Union of Fascists was a direct result of the rise of fascism in Europe. The BUF sought to spread their ideology and gain political power, which led to conflicts such as anti-fascist groups in the East End of London. Social and economic tensions in East End of London. The deep-seated social and economic tensions that existed in the East End of London at the time were also a major cause of the Battle of Cable Street. The poverty and overcrowding in the area created a breeding ground for unrest and conflict. Events of the battle. The British Union of Fascists. The British Union of Fascists was a far-right political organization in the United Kingdom that supported fascist ideologies and anti-Semitism. Anti-fascist protesters. Anti-fascist protesters were a group of people who opposed the fascist ideologies of the British Union of Fascists. Confrontation with the police. The police attempted to clear a path for the fascists, leading to clashes with anti-fascist protesters that resulted in injuries, arrests, and damage to property. Impact of the battle. The Battle of Cable Street was a turning point in the struggle against fascism in Britain. It showed that ordinary people could come together to resist hatred and bigotry, and had a profound impact on British society, both at the time and in the years that followed. Political impact. Government response. The Battle of Cable Street forced the government to rethink its strategy in dealing with fascist groups and to take a stronger stance against them, leading to the formation of the Anti-Fascist League. Awareness of fascism dangers. The Battle of Cable Street raised awareness of the dangers of fascism in the UK and increased public support for anti-fascist movements like the Anti-Fascist League. Social impact. The Battle of Cable Street was a historic event that brought together people from different communities to stand up against fascism in London. It had a profound social impact and highlighted the importance of solidarity and unity in the face of adversity. Cultural impact, inspiring artists, writers, and musicians. The Battle of Cable Street inspired a generation of artists, writers, and musicians to create works that celebrated the spirit of resistance and the power of community, shaping the cultural landscape of East End of London. Shaping East End of London's identity. The Battle of Cable Street helped to shape the identity of the East End of London as a place of diversity, tolerance, and determination, making it a place that celebrates the spirit of resistance and community empowerment. Conclusion. The Battle of Cable Street showed that the power of community could overcome even the most entrenched prejudices, and the ordinary people could come together to resist fascism and bigotry. Thank you.